Welcome to Living Chassidus. Together, let's live the Chassidus we learn.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Chassidus in the Morning, 15 minutes to change our lives. Continuing on in this beautiful, powerful Maimer, Amata the Tzaveh, getting into the meat and bones of the Maimer. Hachana for Gimmel Tammuz. So we're in a test. We started to discuss that really everything we talked about till now, we're missing out a little bit of a little point, and that is the whole story that we said, Kim Mashikibul Kfar, that by the time of Purim story, they had accepted what they had received by Matan Torah. Under is the Nasa V'Nishma. That wasn't real. Meaning it wasn't really brought out until we had the level of by Purim. By Purim, when they had the Mesiras Nefesh, Galus, for Torah mitzvahs, that was when it really expressed itself. But the Rebbe comes and says, 1 second, this whole vart of Kimu Mashikibul Kfar, we accepted what we had started by Matan Torah, was said after the whole story of Purim, after already it was already good. It was already good for the Jewish people. So how does this fit into everything we're saying? We're implying that it was the Mesiras Nefesh. So the Rebbe says it's really the answer is really both. There's two levels. There's a level of reaching the Mar through being kasis in the reality of galus. And then there's a deeper level, which is being kasis in not the type of goals that we're used to. And that's what we discussed. Like it said in the yesterday, we end up saying yesterday, we're still servants of Achashverosh, even after all said and done. We are crushed, we are broken, kasis, one of them is because there's galus that's crashing us, and one of them is because we're in galus, it's crashing. Not that galus itself is doing anything wrong, because we're living bar chava, like we live in America. But the fact that we're in galus is doing it. So Megillah Lamar, that helps us reach the Mar. Now let's discuss a little more. Because ultimately, we're going to discuss this on two levels. One is in general, this idea that we're bothered by the fact we're in galus, which is something that we can all meditate on and think about and recognize in ourselves, that one of the biggest struggles in life we have is because we're unhappy with the status quo. But one of the reasons why we're unhappy a lot more, you could say, the reason why in our generation we're a lot more unhappy than it was in previous generations, it could be simply because we're unhappy, we're in galus. The other generation didn't have time to be unhappy. They were too busy living life and trying to survive to have any of these thoughts. But now that we have everything, so why are we unhappy? We have everything. We should be much happier than we ever have been. Like when I was on shluchus with helping out the shliach in Vietnam, so I saw people that live off like less than $1 a day. People live literally on the streets, and from job to job, like they would drive little tuk-tuk motorbikes. And that was like their parnasa. And they made nothing. And they made enough to get some food, they ate, and then they would pull out a hammock and tie it up to something and sleep. And that was their life. They didn't have any place to live. They were happy people. How come we're unhappy? We have, what this guy would dream of. And we're unhappy. So the reason why we're unhappy is because we're in galus. And this is why Yidden around the world are always running to do things and trying to change the world. And you see these Yidden, as I have a friend that he was working downtown Manhattan in one of these office buildings, and one of the offices was I think it was a Free Palestine office, and everyone that worked there was Jewish, and he ended up putting a mezuzah on the door. Why? What's the problem? It's because they're in galus. This is ultimately the source of it. It's because they're in galus. This is what we're discussing, and then we're going to discuss that even a person that's on a level of a title like the Rebbe also is crashing in galus, even though he has everything good. Meaning spiritually, he's sure everything's going well, but still that is crashed. Let's see. So the explanation is like this. Is that we're broken, we're crushed because of the fact that we're in galus. Even though we have barchava, we have plentiful in gash ruchnius. If we compare our lives to the lives in people, in our parents, in the generation before that, we have it very good. Oh, why? So why we crash? What's bothering us? Because the real want we all have, whether we know it or not, we want to have the revelation of Elikus. We want to see God. We want to have that connection with God. And this affects the essence of who we are, our central soul, the very essence of our being. And therefore, and therefore, we don't have the revelation of Elikus like it was in times of the Beis Hamikdash, and specifically, when you think about and you meditate on what it says, whoever didn't build the Beis Hamikdash in these days, as if he destroyed the Beis Hamikdash. So we think about this, that the fact there's no Beis Hamikdash is because it's being destroyed. So when you recognize this and you think about this and you meditate on this and you internalize this message, is there in ganzen to trace it. From this itself, we are broken, we are shaken, we are crushed. It bothers us, and this is why we have this issue. It's because we're bothered, because we're in galus. We don't understand why. In the old generation, they didn't ask why does God do bad things to good people. They didn't think that way. They didn't have that opportunity to think that way. We live in this mindset of gula, and everything should be perfect, and it bothers us when it's not perfect. And that's the thing, and it bothers us. Now, the Rebbe says not even on a deeper level, a person on this much higher level. Even if you have this level of the revelation of Elikus, like it was in the Beis Hamikdash, meaning you're tzaddik, like the story, I can't remember who was the Rebbe, that someone ran into his room and he said, Mashiach is here. It was like he heard it, the shofar blowing him, Mashiach is here. The Rebbe opened the window, he smelled outside, and he goes, he's not here. So the question is, why did he smell outside? Because inside it smelled like Mashiach already. He was ready, in his room was already Mashiach's time. But even him, he's still broken. Even though the revelation of Elikus is there by him, and they see Elikus, and they see godliness and God and God's real, and they Lord and they daven and they bring, and then it's very real. We're doing like Gilish and they have the revelation of godliness like it was in times of Beis Hamikdash, like the Rebbe, you could say. Even the Rebbe, but the fact that in the whole world itself there's no Gilul Likus, it's irrelevant if it's in my room. It's irrelevant the Rebbe has in the Rebbe's room, everything is good, and he sees a Gilul Likus, and he has that feeling of Mashiach. But he's not happy. Why? Because the whole world doesn't have it. So Muchach, therefore, Shegam Hagili Shemei Etzloi Hu Gili Mugbal. Therefore, even in the Rebbe's room, even by the Rebbe, it's limited. And he understands this because Mashiach is everywhere. If you can't have Mashiach in your place and nowhere else, that's not the truest form of Mashiach. Therefore, the Geshemei Gili instead of Blik Vul, because the Blik Vul, the infinite revelation of God's infinite light, Hagili Hu Mikol Makim. The revelation is B'chol Makim, everywhere. So therefore, Kshiyesh Makim Echad. Therefore, when there's one place, I feel Piloni Dachas, even a far out corner that doesn't have the Gilul Likus, Ein Meir Sham Gilul Likus, Hu Mipesh Agili Gam Makim Shu Meir. Therefore, the revelation of the Likus that is, even where it is revealed, even in the Rebbe's room, even by the Rebbe, Hu Gili Mugbal, it's limited. And you could say, F Shalom, you could say, it's sort of saying like this. One of the reasons why is the of Shlichus, nervous and all these people, it's because there's no Gilul Likus in that corner. And therefore, if not Gilul Likus in that corner, there's no Gilul Likus in our Dalet Amos, where we're living, in our area. In 7-7, in Crown Heights, and in all the Frum communities that is very powerful, and they have a lot of learning and davening and all the good things they're doing. But if in the one corner in Vietnam, there's lacking Gilul Likus, therefore, even where we're holding the lack of Gilul Likus. Like I said in another way, if you feel bad for the Rebbe that there's no Gilul Likus the way he wants it, So we have to do our part. We have to go to find that corner. And that corner doesn't mean, so therefore, I'm not saying that we have to go to the far reaches corner of the world to have a Gilul Likus, because not shaykh for everyone. But within ourselves, for sure, we can find that corner that doesn't have the Gilul Likus. So and this is understood like what the Alter Rebbe says in the Maimon. He says a very interesting part. He says, "Is the tikkunim? It's important from tikkunim. When the tikkunim zayar, shafilu im haya tzadik echad chayzev tshuva shleima. You have one tzaddik that does complete tshuva. This is a wild idea. One tzaddik does complete tshuva. But there haya ba Mashiach, and his generation Mashiach would come." Very, very interesting statement. He did tshuva shleima. Why? Because through his complete tshuva, we draw down the infinite light to that tshuva. And therefore, that infinite light is infinite and it's every place. So therefore, and therefore, when a person, even on that high level, doesn't have the revelation of Atzvus he's broken. The Rebbe is saying this you can sort of say there's two levels of broken. It's broken because you're in galus. The average person doesn't like the situation. He's broken and it bothers him. And it's crashed, it's shaken, it's bothersome. And then you can say even on a deeper level, even a person that's on a level of a tzaddik like the Rebbe, he's like, so the Rebbe we understand because the Rebbe was always trying to change the world. But you take a guy that's a tzaddik, he's living in whatever it is, place us a different community, that he has his life, he's davening, he's learning, connected to godliness, and he's real, and he does everything right. Even him is going to be crushed. Why? Because he understands that if there's a corner, it doesn't have a Gilul Likus, therefore it's not real, it's not there by him as well. Because ultimately, like we're saying from the Alter Rebbe, that it has to be in every place. It can't be a Gilul Likus properly in your area alone. It doesn't work. How you do like it's known that a chayla, the chayla means sick. So the gematria of chayla is memtes 49. Even if you have 49 levels of understanding, you're still sick. And that's what you're gonna explain. Shagam geshemagia memtes sharabino. You reach the 49 levels of understanding. Ela shechasid lo yeshanun, but you're lacking the 50th level. Therefore, hu chayla is sick. Doesn't mean you're physically sick, but it means you haven't reached. Meaning exactly the same point we're saying now. We have everything, and this is sort of the push that I was pushing over here. You have everything. You're not in galus like they were in Russia. You're not being crushed, not being forced. You're living everything by chava. You're even a tzaddik. You have everything. You have 49 levels of understanding. Life is good. Everything is going good for you, but you're still unhappy. Why are you always unhappy? So why we're always unhappy is because it's galus. Unfortunately, what we tend to do is to try to find the solutions outside of us or doing random things. But what the Rebbe is saying is the solution is work on bringing Mashiach, working on davening more and learning more and connecting other people and saying, what can I do today to bring Mashiach? Because I'm bothered, not because I don't have enough toys, as my kids, or not because I don't have enough, whatever it is. It's because I want Mashiach. The idea it's no in Mashkas of Tzedek. Okay, this is a whole nother beautiful part. Whatever, we'll jump in a little bit quick. We'll try to finish out this area. Okay. Yeah, if you do it, no in Mashkas of Tzedek said, try Nishma Meireno, Rabbi saying Nishma Ein Adam Zaken, it was heard from Alter Rebbe. The Alter Rebbe used to say this. And what did he say? Very famous Vart. He said, Ich will sehr garnist dich. Do that again. Ich will sehr garnist. Ich will nicht dein Gan Eden. I don't want anything. I don't want your Gan Eden. Ich will nicht dein Olam Haba. I don't want your Olam Haba. Ich will mehr nicht als dich allein. I want only you alone. And Alter Rebbe said, I don't want anything. I don't want your Gan Eden, your reward. Now, as Rebbe said different in other places, yours, meaning even the Gan Eden of the Eibishter on his level. That I don't want any reward. I'm not doing Torah mitzvahs for reward. I'm not doing it because I get anything, because I gain from it. I just want to be connected to you. And this is what ultimately every Yid wants. That's what we want. So you're going to say to me on this level? Come on, let's not kid ourselves. I know where I'm holding. So he says the fact that it was heard from the Tzemach Tzedek, and the fact Nishma means the language says that it would be heard, which means he said it often. And specifically, Tzemach Tzedek is sharing this information. Why is he sharing it? That it means that we also have this want, and we can also have this. He's telling us, not because he's telling us to show how great the Alter Rebbe is, he's telling us to show that you can have this as well. And you have the koyach, we have the ability to also want this. We have to believe in ourselves. And to such an extent that we have this want and we can reveal this want, that when this is not revealed, Mikal Shekain, and even more so, Bisman Hagalus, Ein Meir, Afilu Gili, Fil Hagili, Gili and even more, even if it's not even the revelation of the time of the Beis Hamikdash. Who b'matzav akas is bothers us. Mavakish Gimmel Pa'am B'chal Yom, and we ask 3 times a day, or yes, or maybe even more, like in Muslim and stuff. What do we say? May our eyes behold your return, Tzion, with mercy. We want to go back. We want Mashiach. And then when Mashiach comes, we'll have the revelation of Elikus and Atzmus, which will be everywhere. And the fact that it isn't, this sort of means that we're crashed to the luminary. The fact that we're crashed, not because of something external, not because of the oppression that's coming from the Achashverosh, or it's coming from the communism, but because of the fact that just we're in galus, that helps us Megillah Mar, that reaches that essence of us. Because this that we have this want, have the revelation of godliness, this affects, this is coming the essence of our mitzias. And therefore, who nishbar v'ninke galus lo yesh gilul likus. Because the fact that we're in galus, we don't have a gilul likus. That's what is bothering us. And where does that come from? It comes from the essence of our being. Ma'ar shem neshama. This is the ma'ar. Kasla ma'ar. We're crashed because of galus. It's not because of what galus is doing to us, but because of the fact we're in galus. That this connection with Elikus is an essential connection. And when we have this, because that's essential connection, there's a lot to bring out of this, but it's getting a little late. So be continued on Monday. Mitzvah Hashem. Thank you very much for joining.